In South Africa, there has been a meeting of the G20. The 20 strongest economies in the world were meeting there. But when you listen and when you watch, Africa was not represented properly. During the same time, in Luanda, Angola, there was yet another meeting of the European Union and the African Union. And when I listened to African leaders, I was disappointed. We are the only continent in the world that still goes to the slave master to ask the slave master, how can we be better in freedom? As I talk to you now, Africa is at crossroads. We are asking ourselves, which road should we take? And permit me a little latitude. Because as I speak to you now, Africa is crumbling. If you doubt me, look at what is happening in Sudan. They do not have the luxury of celebrating an anniversary in Khartoum. They are fighting, killing each other. The worst humanitarian situation in the world as I speak. Central African Republic is in crisis. Southern Cameroon, they have not gone to school for the last 3 years or more. Guinea-Bissau, a coup d'etat yesterday. Eastern Congo. Africa is at crossroads. Honorable Vice Chancellor, let me start by congratulating the University of Ilorin on the occasion of their 50th anniversary. This is my first time at this university, and I can assure you that I have visited a number of universities in the continent of Africa and in the world, and you are better than far. You are better than far, not just because of your size, because it took us 5 kilometers to drive from the gate to the office of the Vice Chancellor. And you know, even if you do not have to say it yourself, a great Nigerian once said that the lizard that jumped from the high Iroko tree praised itself if there was nobody to do so. But on this occasion, I praise you. I've also had the advantage of learning something about the University of Ilorin. I have been told that from a modest number of no more than 500, the university now boasts 50,000 students. This is amazing for 50 years. It is amazing not only because of the number of students, but it is amazing because of the courses that are taught at this university. I've been told, and I've had a glimpse of some of the alumni of the University of Ilorin, including the Vice Chancellor himself, who was a PhD student here and whose inaugural address, Judex, I'm just beginning to read. I'm happy to be in this assembly. I'm also happy to be in this assembly because I've met other alumni of this university. The good professor from the University of Bamenda in Cameroon, who is present in this assembly, which is indicative of the fact that this university is spreading its tentacles in the world. During my short stay here, I've also met my good professor from Ethiopia, who is a visiting academic at this university. And as if that was not enough, I've met another professor from Pakistan, which tells me that this university is present in the world. And as if that was not enough, only last evening I listened to the testimony of students who are visiting from Italy, and their greatest pain was that they are leaving Ilorin. So today, when I'm invited to speak about this university, to reflect about the role of universities in Africa and in the world, it gladdens my heart. Honorable Vice Chancellor, the other great thing that I've seen this morning is that your predecessors, those who are still in the land of the living, are here, which is a testament to the fact for those vice chancellors that there is no greater recompense than when your successor succeeds. You are here to celebrate that what you are doing is even being made greater by the current holder of the office of the Vice Chancellor. I say this because we live in a continent where we are always beginning. We live in a continent where our greatest claim to fame is that we want to obliterate the legacy of those who came before us. Yet history is consistent in teaching us that life is a marathon relay race where one generation hands over the baton to another generation. So today, ladies and gentlemen, let us reflect. 50 years ago, in the wisdom of those who are present, it was decided to establish this university. When this university was established, perhaps very few knew that it would acquire the status that it now has. But yet, a great Nigeria once said that when you look at the mouth of a king, you would not know that he too suckled the mother's breasts. And that is also true at the mouth of a queen. Today, when we look at the University of Ilorin, nobody would imagine that only 50 years ago it was a toddler beginning to learn not only to crawl, but even to sit. But 50 years later, we are now witnessing that it has grown into the giant that it is. It is a giant that is acknowledged not only in the community in which it sits. It is a giant that is acknowledged not only in the Kwara state where it sits. It is a giant that is acknowledged not only in Nigeria where she sits. It is a giant that is acknowledged in the continent of Africa and in the world. It is incumbent upon us, therefore, to praise those who thought about the establishment of the University of Ilorin. But as we look to the future and as we celebrate 50 years, it is incumbent upon us that we must not rest on our laurels. It is incumbent upon us to remember that Africa still is punching at the lower levels. It is incumbent upon us to remember that our education is still not revolutionizing our societies as they should. It is incumbent upon us to remember that there is work to be done. You know, we live in a continent which paradoxically and ironically is the richest. If you look at Nigeria alone, what does Nigeria not have? She is famous for her oil, but that is not the end of the story. If you look at the belly of Nigeria, there is no shortage of minerals of one kind or another. Nigeria can be a leading agriculture country. She can be great in that regard. If you look at the human resource that Nigeria has, you'll be amazed. When you travel outside of this continent, whether it is in Europe or America, whether it's in the continent of Africa, whether you are looking for a good engineer, whether you are looking for good professors, you are looking for good doctors, you will find Nigerians. You know, sometimes Nigerians who have the money leave here to go for medical treatment in Europe and America, and when they go there, they discover that the doctors treating them are Nigerians. That is how great Nigeria is. And today, when we are asking ourselves what the role of universities are, it is our duty to remind ourselves that Africa will only be great when the continent of Africa and her intellectuals are given their pride of place. Many are the times that I look at the continent of Africa and I look at other continents, I look at the promises that we make to ourselves, and many of the promises that we have made to ourselves in the continent of Africa have been here in Nigeria. Many of you will remember in the year 1980, Africa sat in Lagos, Nigeria, and we came up with the Lagos Plan of Action. Under the Lagos Plan of Action, we said that we must improve our education system. We said that we must improve our trade amongst ourselves. But many years later, we have not done much about it. As if meeting is one of our major preoccupations in Africa, we once again sat in Abuja in 1991 and came with the Abuja Declaration. And we said in Abuja that in the health sector we would improve our expenditure to 15% of our budgets. Several years down the line, we may make all the noise we want, but our health sectors are still below what they ought to be. Today, as we talk about the role of universities, I am saying that the time is now that African universities must be given the respect that they deserve, that African scholars must be given the respect that they deserve. We are the only continent in the world where academics do not get the remuneration that they deserve, but politicians are multi-millionaires. If Africa is to compete with the rest of the world, Africa must change. And Africa will only change when academics are given the opportunities and compensated in the manner that they should be. You know, during this week that I am joining you here in Ilorin, in South Africa, there has been a meeting of the G20. The 20 strongest economies in the world were meeting there. But when you listen and when you watch, Africa was not represented properly. During the same time, in Luanda, Angola, there was yet another meeting of the European Union and the African Union. And when I listened to African leaders, I was disappointed. We are the only continent in the world that still goes to the slave master to ask the slave master, how can we be better in freedom? I am praying that this University of Ilorin, as it continues and as it looks to the next 50 years, will be a university where the minds of young Nigerians and the minds of young Africans will be decolonized. I look forward to that time. I look forward to the time when we are teaching engineering. We will be alive to the world, to the reality that science knows no boundaries. But we will also be alive to the world that science must respect the environment in which it is operating. I'm looking forward to the day when the engineer produced at the University of Ilorin will solve the problems of the continent of Africa. I look forward to the University of Ilorin producing a different graduate of agriculture, so that when we talk about aquaculture in Nigeria, when we talk about poultry farming in Nigeria, when we talk about sugarcane farming in Nigeria, when we talk about all these things, Africa will be ready and able to feed ourselves. Today, Africa cannot feed ourselves. You in Nigeria, even as you debate with Ghana which jollof rice is better than the other, I suspect that you still import rice. I suspect that you still import tea. I suspect that you still import poultry. I suspect that you still import beef. This must stop. It must stop, and it will only stop when the universities such as the University of Ilorin begin to engage in agriculture that is going to unlock our potential. As I drove in, I saw what is happening here on the 15,000 hectares. I saw that they have jatropha farms. I saw that they have teak farms. I'm informed that they produce their own chicken. I'm informed that they produce their own honey. I'm informed that they can feed themselves. If this can be replicated to Nigeria and be replicated to the continent of Africa, then we will not be a continent that is famous, or is it infamous, for going around the world with a beggar's bowl, asking from other civilizations. I'm suggesting to us that we have a duty to do so. I am also hoping that this university, as it is celebrating her 50th anniversary, will be a university that is restoring our self-esteem. For too long, we in the continent of Africa have labored under some complex. For too long, we in the continent of Africa believe that that which is ours is not good enough. For too long, in the continent of Africa, we labor under the misguided belief that we have to be acknowledged by others. It gladdens my heart that at this University of Ilorin, you are beginning to teach the next generation that Ilorin can produce university graduates that are as good as anywhere in the world. It gladdens my heart that when the Vice Chancellor was reading his speech, he did not say that he wanted to be the Oxford of Nigeria, that he did not want to be the Harvard of Nigeria. He wanted to be the Ilorin of Nigeria. The time has come that we must make reference to ourselves without trying to mimic others. And in doing so, we must also have a cultural orientation that is informed by the realities of our circumstances. And that is why it gladdens my heart, Kabiesi, when I see the traditional rulers resplendent in our presence. It is a statement that in our education we must also be culturally sensitive, because culture is what defines who we are. You know, in the Kiswahili language, which one day I hope will be the lingua franca of Africa, we say, mwachamila ni mtumwa. He or she who abandons his or her culture is a slave. I hope that this University of Ilorin will make sure that cultural studies are also given their pride of place. Today, in many African universities, you see institutes from China, institutes from the United Kingdom, institutes from other civilizations. I look forward to the day when we will have African institutes teaching African languages. How is it that as I'm talking to you today, Igbo language is taught at the University of Harvard, Yoruba is taught at the University of Harvard, Hausa is taught at the University of Harvard? Tell me, are you teaching Yoruba here? Tell me, are you teaching it well? Tell me, are you teaching Igbo here? Are you teaching it well? Tell me, are you teaching Hausa here? Are you teaching it well? Tell me, are you teaching Fulfude here? Are you teaching Kiswahili here? Begin now. This is the time. Are you teaching Amharic here? No, you must. In other words, I look forward to a 50 years when there'll be a cultural revival, so that African culture and African languages are given their pride of place. You know, this country called Nigeria is a country that I make reference to not once, not twice, times without number. Because I hold the view that if this university based here in Nigeria gives the country Nigeria the prominence that it deserves, Nigeria will be great. I was telling the good Vice Chancellor that those universities in Africa that are fond of benchmarking with universities in Europe and America, they should come here. And when they come here and they see 15,000 hectares, when they see what is being done here, they will go back and rename themselves glorified high schools rather than universities. And I have no doubt in my mind that that should happen. We have the ability, and if University of Ilorin is just one of the universities in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, then you imagine what Nigeria can do. You imagine what Nigeria can do in research. You imagine what Nigeria can do in the health sector. You imagine what Nigeria can do in mining. You imagine what Nigeria can do in the blue economy. You imagine what Nigeria can do in the development of the youth. You imagine what Nigeria can do in artificial intelligence. You imagine. And stop lamenting. One of the things that we do in Africa, and if there was a gold medal in that regard, Africa would win on a daily basis. Lamentation. Agonization without organization. The time is now for this university, and as we look at education, as I talk to you now, Africa is at crossroads. We are asking ourselves, which road should we take? And permit me a little latitude, because as I speak to you now, Africa is crumbling. If you doubt me, look at what is happening in Sudan. They do not have the luxury of celebrating an anniversary in Khartoum. They are fighting, killing each other. The worst humanitarian situation in the world as I speak. Central African Republic is in crisis. Southern Cameroon, they have not gone to school for the last 3 years or more. Guinea-Bissau, a coup d'etat yesterday. Eastern Congo. Africa is at crossroads. But that is not to say that there are no good things happening in the continent of Africa. There are. There are good things happening in Mauritius. There are good things happening in Little Seychelles. There are good things happening in Namibia. There are good things happening in Botswana. There are good things happening in Rwanda. But they are too small to have the impact that Nigeria would have. 1 out of every African is a Nigerian. And I've said it and I'm saying it again. When you go to any part of the world and you do not find a Nigeria, run away. Because Nigerians know where to go, and wherever they are outside of Nigeria, they create a great positive impact. And I'm suggesting to this audience here at Ilorin, that your duty is beyond celebration to go out there and make this celebration be the beginning point or the impetus of what Nigeria can be. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is represented here. The representative of the President of the Federal Republic, go out and tell the President that the world and Africa is looking at Nigeria. And if the President is not told, the representative of the First Lady, go out and tell the First Lady to tell the President. That Nigeria must be great. Nigeria must be the leader, not only in ECOWAS, but must be the leader in the continent of Africa. On the occasion that Nigeria has led, Africa has been in a celebratory mood. Nigeria led when South Africa was fighting against apartheid. Nigeria led. We never say anything about it. Nigeria led when there was trouble in Liberia and Sierra Leone through ECOMOG, and the countries were stabilized. Nigeria led when the Gambia was about to go down. Whenever Nigeria leads, Africa stabilizes. Don't run away from your role. Don't be too small. And if Nigeria as a country are having difficulties on how to do it, let them come to the University of Ilorin and let them learn from this age-old saying that is, in the same manner you fry a small fish that you fry a big one. Ilorin is the small fish, Nigeria is the big fish. The method of frying never changes. It can be done. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also speaking to you at a time when Africa is grappling with what she can do in order to be great. In the year 2013, Africans sat in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and came up with Africa Agenda 2063. Under that agenda, we made promises to ourselves. We said that we would, as a continent, be a great continent in science, in arts, in culture, in engineering, in all spheres of development, and we came up with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. I hope that this university will be in the forefront of leading not only free trade, but free movement of people. And I therefore look forward to the day when, if I visit Nigeria, I will not be required to have a visa. I look forward to that day. I look forward to the day when, if I visit Nigeria, I will not be required to fill an entry form. I look forward to that day. I look forward to the day when I leave Nigeria, I will not be required to fill an exit form. I look forward to that day, because Africa will only be great when her sons and daughters have the ability to move from one country to the other, as if the boundaries imposed in Berlin in 1884 were useless imposition. I look forward to that day. And I hope that this great country, Nigeria, will provide leadership in that regard. I look forward to the day when I visit Nigeria and I go to the breakfast room, I will not be drinking Hollandia from Coca-Cola. I will not be taking tea, Nescafe or Lipton from Switzerland and from the United Kingdom, but on my table will be cocoa from Ghana, tea from Kenya, meat from Namibia and Botswana, and the water will be from Nigeria, and the chicken will be from Burkina Faso. So I look forward to that day. I look forward to the day when, if I go to buy shoes in Nigeria, it will be from a leather factory in Kaduna, not from Italy. I look forward to that day. And I have no doubt in my mind that the research at the University of Ilorin is going to ensure that we do that. And now, you have also invited me to speak at a time when those who know we are in the cusp of the 4th and 5th industrial revolution. We are in the cusp of artificial intelligence. We are using things that we do not manufacture today. As I speak to you now, some of you are Googling, some of you are on Instagram, some of you are on artificial intelligence, some of you are on Telegram, some of you are on all those things, WhatsApp and all those things. Do you know that those things are foreign and that somebody sitting in the United States of America can switch them off? Do you know? I look forward to the day when this university will be in the forefront of giving us homegrown technology, which is based in Lagos or based here in Kwara State, and that we in the continent of Africa will be consuming what we have produced and not producing what we have not consumed. I look forward to that day. I look forward to the day when our young men and women here in Nigeria and graduates of the University of Ilorin will have the joy to work here in Nigeria and to work in West Africa and to work in the rest of Africa, and not dying in the Mediterranean Sea or being humiliated at the embassies of the United States of America. I look forward to the day. I look forward to the day when our young men's mind will be so decolonized that they love the things that we produce. I look forward to that day. That is why, therefore, Honorable Vice Chancellor and the good people who are present here today, as we look to the future, it gladdens my heart. It gladdens my heart that when I look to the future and I say that Ilorin is in that space, my call to you is that the time is now. The time is now to give meaning to the promises that you've made yourself. The time is now to improve your agriculture. The time is now to improve your engineering. The time is now to improve your technology. The time is now to recognize that what we call luck is an intercourse between preparedness and hard work. The time is now for us to work smart. The time is now to harness our potential. The time is now to use the energy of our young men and women and the wisdom of our old people, that we may make Ilorin great, make Nigeria great, make Africa great, because it is only then that we shall have served in humanity. I bless you all in the knowledge that you will be great, and that Ilorin will be great, Nigeria will be great, and Africa will be great. God bless you all.
Brothers and sisters of Africa, give us your valuable thoughts about this video in the comment section below. Remember to like, share and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.